Aloha, everyone, and welcome to Language of the Soul Astrology Talk Radio. I almost missed my cue. Well, I did miss my cue today. Anyway, I'm your host, Ora'lea Starr, and we have another show this week where we're going to begin. Some of you may be getting kind of familiar with the format. I'm going to be starting with a poem today. Let's just go into that poem. The poem is called The Journey by Mary Oliver, and I feel like this kind of, well, I'll explain why I chose it later. The Journey. One day, you finally knew what you had to do and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble, and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried. But you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do. Though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible, it was already late enough and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. Okay, that was The Journey by Mary Oliver. She is one of my favorite poets. And to me, you know, this poem is perfect this week because once we get into the cosmic weather report for today, beginning February 15th and running through Sunday, February 21st, we're going to have some pretty big shifts in planets. And we're going to be shifting, the sun will be shifting from Aquarius to Pisces. Which is, we'll get specifically into Pisces a little bit later, but I feel like it's going to be really important this week to kind of balance how we're all coming together and taking care of each other. And when that boundary gets crossed and either, you know, we're not giving enough or we're giving too much. And Pisces at times can tend to give too much. And so this poem to me is a reminder that we can do as much as we can do for others, but unless we kind of put on our own oxygen mask on first, we're going to run out of breath and we're not going to be able to. So I like the reminder of the only life we can really save is our own, and everyone is really responsible for their own healing and their own work. So thank you, Mary Oliver, for that reminder. So let's just begin with today, Monday. We have an all-day Aries moon today, and the energy right now is super expansive. I mean, we've got Aries hooking up with Jupiter and Venus and Mercury and Aquarius, and this is really big energy. You know, Aries is the warrior, and it's about our motivation, our desire and adventure and what we want to go out and get. How do we want to, and Aquarius is what? The future and visions and our hopes and our goals and our wishes. So as I was driving down for the show today, I was feeling so expansive and reminded of all of the possibilities that are in the air today. And I thought, I better soak all of this up because it's all downhill. No, it's not really all downhill the rest of the week, but today is actually one of the sweetest days of the week. And if you have some time to carve out and just write down what's coming to you and make a list of intentions on the heels of that new moon that we had in Aquarius last week, today is a really empowering time. And I think important for the rest of the week, as things may get a little helter-skelter throughout the week, it might be nice to be reminded of where we're heading and what we want to create in our lives. So really a great day to tune into all of our visions. Tomorrow morning, we will awake to a continued Aries moon, but it's going to be bumping heads with Pluto, the planet of power and powerlessness. And Pluto is where we meet up with powerful forces that are really beyond our control. And so we may get triggered a little more easily tomorrow and feel irritated and want to jump onto the defensive. There could be some power struggles. Our thinking could get a little obsessed. We may be tempted to manipulate others. Oh, there's 1111 again. I've seen it every week. It's sorry to digress. It's a magic number for me. It reminds me that, we're all exactly where we're supposed to be in this moment. So getting back to Tuesday, the temptation is maybe with Pluto to manipulate others when we're feeling powerless in order to feel like we're pushing our agenda, or we may be the ones who are being manipulated. So fortunately, that's really kind of a weak transit that lasts maybe half of the day. Later in the afternoon on Tuesday, the Aries moon is going to hook up again with the sun in Aquarius and Jupiter, and we're going to be back to thinking about our future and inspired optimism and, how we can break free and feeling like we're kind of riding high again, like the wave of today after that little bit of a bump. Much later in the afternoon on Tuesday, kind of into the early evening, the moon will shift into grounding, peaceful, earth-centered Taurus. And Taurus energy after the Aries energy is just kind of like laying in the green grasses out in a meadow and just being in reverence of nature and how beautiful everything is, and being in the peace and being in the silence. It's also a time, Taurus is a very sensual moon, and so it likes touch and yummy foods and music, really nice music. And so maybe Tuesday night would be great to have a nice bath or your favorite beverage, a gourmet meal, and just kind of relax and rest up, because on Wednesday we have another all-day Taurus moon to hopefully keep us grounded. But it's also Wednesday. I mean, there's no way to really sugarcoat it. We're going to have our first pass of Saturn square Uranus. This is kind of the opener, and really I'm feeling it already. This is not something that just happens on Wednesday, and it happens on Wednesday and then it's over. This is a theme that's going to be with us for the rest of 2021. And this is the first kind of, if you think of these passes, they have three distinct passages. And the first one is, the first pass, it's the opening phase. It's kind of like if you're going to read a long novel, you're being introduced to the characters and the scene and the plot and the setting, but things aren't really quite making sense yet. And so that Taurus moon is also just bumping into all of these planets in Aquarius throughout the day. And so the energy is tense and discordant, and we might just be tempted. It's just kind of one of these bah humbug days. And then the energy is such that we're being pulled between, if you think of Saturn as kind of the past and our government and tradition and traditional structures, and you think of Uranus is the great awakener, and it's full of surprises, and it's sudden surprise. Now, sudden surprises can be good, like winning the lottery. But also you could get struck by lightning, and that's a sudden surprise that isn't so good. And so the idea is here that there are likely to be some events over this week and next, both collectively and personally, You know, there's anything can happen. You know, if you look at Saturn square Uranus and you go back to 2008 when those two planets were opposing each other, you know, one amazing Uranian surprise was that we elected our first African American president. And so we were going towards Aquarius. We were going towards the future and towards Aquarius and a new paradigm. We also had a pretty big stock market crash. And today I woke up and I was ready to get on the market and hope that the Dow and everything was in the green and I could do a little more liquidating, because I've been liquidating for the last couple of weeks, hoping that we weren't going to have another crash. And I'm not predicting a crash, everybody. I'm just saying that the timing is ripe. You know, the market's overinflated. And again, you know, just be ready. The idea is be ready. Be ready for some breakdowns. And the idea is that breakdowns eventually lead us to breakthroughs. The song today that I've chosen to play in the middle is Breakdown by Tom Petty. And I chose that song because it's really, it's breakdown, but it's about coming together. You know, I mean, this is the opener of this energy. It's not the end. I mean, there's lots more to go for the rest of the year with this energy. So we're getting an opportunity to be initiated. And so hopefully we'll have some great surprises, some great awakenings, some shifts in our thinking. But the energy can be a little bit jolting and knock us off balance and off of our sense of security. Again, both personally in our own lives and collectively and globally with, you know, glaciers breaking apart. As I mentioned, stock market crashes, revolts in the government, and we still have Chiron and Aries. And so people who are feeling extra weakened by all of this energy may want to go out and get a gun and you know, it's like we've had all of these protests and all of these people fighting because people are feeling powerless. And sometimes, unfortunately, when people feel powerless, what they want to do is try to gain power in some area of their life, even if they're going off sort of half-cocked. And Uranus is can be this half-cocked kind of energy where we can impulsively make these sudden radical moves. So again, as I said, it is just the opener. Let's hope for some happy surprises with this. And I'll talk more about it next week. I don't want to scare anyone and have anybody think, oh my gosh, this is going to be this horrible, dreadful thing. But just be aware that there could be some big events this week. And on Thursday, when the sun goes into Pisces, hopefully we're all going to be able to start tuning into a little more compassion. You know, Pisces, we've had all these planets in Aquarius for the last month. It's definitely been a big Aquarius party. It's about the future, but you know, Aquarius is also can be very emotionally detached. And on the shadow side, it's the mad scientist. You know, what kind of experiments can we do? And it's like Frankenstein. But also the positive part is let's come together. Let's build a sense of community, of togetherness, of power to the people, of humanitarian efforts. And so Pisces kind of takes that energy, and Pisces is very much a visionary like Aquarius is. Though Pisces is a water sign though, so it's more sensitive, it's dreamy and ethereal, empathic energy. That's tuned into humility and serving others sort of in the background. And Pisces tunes into sort of this bigger collective vision. And the ruler of Pisces, which is the planet Neptune, let's not forget, is still challenging our future and our past direction. So there's still some conspiracy theories going on. We've got all of these different groups and all of these continuing groups within Aquarius splintering off. We have BLM, we have QAnon, we have political parties starting to split and name their own parties. I expect to see more of that. But the idea is for us personally is to keep examining your belief systems and ask yourself whether or not those belief systems fit in with the visions and the hopes and the wishes and the dreams and the goals that you have for yourself. And if they don't, let's use this Saturn Uranus square to break down some old stuff. I like to think of this as an opportunity to break down and dismantle the parts of our lives that aren't working anymore, whether they're our own negative thinking or people who are toxic to us, who we still have in our lives. It's really a time where we get to do the dirty work of reaching our hopes and goals and wishes. So, the idea is not to rush it, not to, Uranus is let's rush it, let's go, let's run for the hills. Saturn is let's go bit by bit, slow by slow, no stone unturned. So, again, we want to kind of come somewhere in the middle and use this Pisces ethereal energy to just allow ourselves to meander a little bit, set aside some time for dreams and to engage the imagination. Pisces is so, I'm always surprised by Pisces because in astrology, Pisces kind of gets symbolized by the two fishes, kind of gets this rap of, escaping and associated with addiction and, let's just kind of get into this dreamy world and altered states of consciousness and escape and tune out. And there's definitely that aspect to it. But I have a lot of Pisces friends who are wildly successful. They are great business people. They seem to be tuned in almost in this otherworldly way. And so don't write off Pisces as some space cadet, mystic poet dreamer who's not able to accomplish anything, because that's not true. Pisces, let's not forget, is the visionary. Albert Einstein was a Pisces. John Lennon was a Pisces, I believe, with an Aquarius moon. And so this is visionary. So let's see, what else? Let me tune to my notes and see what I'm leaving out. Again, I do want to remind that even though the sun is going into Pisces, we still have Jupiter, the planet of faith, growth, expansion, inspiration, reaching for new horizons in Aquarius for the whole rest of the year. So we are still tuned into our visions and our hopes and our dreams. And it's air, it's the energy of air. So it's about awareness and kind of imagine sitting way up and looking down on everything that's happening and all of this chaos and all of this mixture and looking at it objectively and kind of going with the flow. And I'm looking at the time here and I see that I definitely want to make time for callers. So let's move into Friday. The moon is going to shift into Gemini, which is, we might not sleep. I never sleep as well when the moon is in Gemini because it's ruled by Mercury and the mind starts turning and there's all of these ideas. Gemini has the gift of gab. And sometimes when the moon is in Gemini, we can be prone to gossip or saying things that we wish we hadn't said and we can't take back. We're still in the final throes of Mercury retrograde. So, we want to keep our words straight. We want to keep it straight. We want to keep it good. Also on Friday, Venus and Mars are kind of in a little bit of a planetary squabble. So there could be maybe some glitches in our relationships and glitches with our finances. I hope it's not going to be related to the market. I'm just want to let everybody know that that's that Venus-Mars squabble is just for the day. Saturday, Mercury stations and goes direct. It officially comes out of retrograde. So our time of reflection, I covered the Mercury retrograde in depth last week, so I'm not going to cover it again in depth this week. Just suffice it to say that even once Mercury begins moving forward, it does so slowly, and I call it the wobble effect. And so it really won't be until March 13th where Mercury reaches the same degree in Aquarius that it was in. I believe it's 26 degrees Aquarius when it started its retrograde movement on January 30th. So anything that broke down for you, communications, computers, cars, anything you may have had difficulty with, should start to recalibrate itself slowly over the next couple of weeks. Sunday, the moon moves into sensitive Cancer. Cancer is another water sign. It's emotional. It's ruled by the moon, and so the moods can kind of dance around. It's very protective, motherly, nurturing energy. So Sunday may be a great time for bonding with friends and family. But that Cancer energy can also sometimes tune us into our own inner child, and maybe some leftover feelings of abandonment and rejection and the need to feel safe. So Cancer energy, again, just a lot of different emotions. The idea is to just nurture and be kind to ourselves, our own inner child, and to be kind to others, and to really count our blessings. There's so much to be grateful for. Everything is such a big mixture. 2020 has been such a heck of a year for a lot of people. And 2021 is really overall going to bring a lot of its own challenges. But again, I want to say that 2021 is really about overall creative manifestation. So we don't want to lose sight of that this week with whatever kind of events crack open or pop open. I like to think of them as opportunities that really pave the way and show us where we need to clean up messes or what we need to embrace. And as some doors close, let them close. Because sometimes the new doors, either they don't open or we're not able to walk through them until we slam those old ones shut. You can reach me at Ora'lea, Starr, Astrology.com, or you can call me at 808-250-8539.